Hey everyone, it is Steven Schleicher, and before we get into this week's show, just a couple of things for you to note. Next week in the United States, it is Thanksgiving. For those who celebrate, we certainly celebrate that here at Major Spoilers HQ. Everybody is off, everybody is enjoying the holidays, and we also believe that you also should take a little break as well, wherever you are in the world. So, a heads up, the November 26th episode of Critical Hit, there's no release that weekend just because it is the holiday. Critical Hit will return on December 3rd. There will be no Critical Hit episodes December 24th, that's Christmas Eve, and December 31st, New Year's Eve. Again, holidays. So we're going to take some breaks, just letting everyone be aware of those things that are coming up. Nothing to worry about. Things are going fine. We are definitely in the closing stages of Drifters, and it's getting kind of scary. We're about 7 or 8 episodes ahead of this episode that you're about to listen to as far as our recordings go. And, Kevin is doing some crazy stuff. But you don't want to hear about that. Instead, before we get into this week's game, I want to tell you that we've partnered with Metallic Dice Games. They're purveyors of quality dice and dice accessories to offer an exclusive discount to any one of more than 300 options on their site. All you need to do, follow the link in the description and use our discount code podcast10. That's podcast10 for 10% off any new additions to your dice hoard. And man, they've got some really cool ones. If you are a fan of the Critical Hit logo, the red die on the blue background, I would check out their red metal dice that they have because it's a spitting image of our logo. And you can pick that up for a great price. And they get 10% discount on top of that by using the code podcast10 at checkout. Portion of your purchase comes back to us. That's right. A little portion of that purchase comes back to us. That's how an affiliate link works. And that helps support this show. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Metallic Dice Games. Use the link in the show notes. Go check out those red metal dice or the other red die that they have available for you, or anything. They've got some really cool liquid dice as well. Go check them out. Metallic Dice Games. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and checking us out this week. Major reveal, Kevin. Major reveal.
I think that, when Archon Eon Souljet bared his soul to you guys last time
on Critical Hit,
he made a really compelling case, and I now expect that Team Lizard Brain will join the Abadar Corp family.
I mean, sure. Thanks, everyone. It's been a joy running Drifters.
We'll join it like a kidney stone joins your system.
You have to squeeze really hard to get rid of it.
It does a lot of damage on the way out.
Yeah.
Well, that is a raison d'etre right there.
Yeah. At the end of the previous session, you guys... No.
You said previous. Previous is a synonym for last.
Last time on Critical Hit?
Yeah, so you guys were still on Absalom Station after you had walked out of the Archon's private quarters, security and whatnot. But you had left something behind. Isn't that right, Skritic?
Mm-hmm. Left a little something extra in a couch. Lack of cushions.
Typical.
Yep.
So yeah, you guys are walking down the streets of Absalom Station. The world is your oyster.
Hecubino will, as we're walking, be like, okay, everything that was given to them to hold needs to be checked. Software and hardware.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smart.
We can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Want to, get a somewhere we can sit and take care of that, as opposed to just doing it on the streets or back at the Squeaky Clean.
Yeah, where did we park the Squeaky Clean?
And then like a nice dock, like a way nicer dock than we normally would.
Yeah. Lot A.
But not, probably not one that they have access to.
I mean, what don't they have access to?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Which is that's a good point. We need to check the Squeaky Clean as well.
I mean, the good news is that if anyone tries to get on the Squeaky Clean, they've got a lot of surprises waiting for them.
Right.
You guys
Yeah,
can
they
pick
do.
up coffees from Lot A lattes.
Nice.
Really?
Very really.
Cool. So are you making your way back to the Squeaky Clean, or are you guys doing something else while you're in station?
I think we were going to go, maybe it's like to a bar or something so we can or check all of our stuff.
Yeah. We need the seediest bar with the best, shielding where you can do things that may or may not be above board.
Well, I think there's a few people who've spent some time on Absalon Station in the group party, specifically Hecubino, Vangi, and Skritic. So, Hecubino and Vangi, I believe you guys had spent some time staying in the Spire, which is kind of, a working class to lower class part of the station.
We'll head in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone take any special precautions en route?
I'll keep an eye out for a tail.
Keep an eye out for a tail.
Critic
Yeah,
has
I
one.
run all my Wi-Fi stuff through a VPN.
Nice.
Skritic and Vangi both have tails.
That is true.
Well, something you perhaps weren't expecting, Hecubino, but you do notice while you're on the lookout, is you guys start drawing attention. You draw a fair bit of attention on Absalom Station wherever you go at this point, specifically Hecubino, and then the six of you as a group draw a lot of attention. It's almost like everybody's giving a fame bonus to each other.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think both the Hecubino and I have specific, themes that attract attention.
Yep. And as I was going to say, Sam, Vangi is noticed more by the kind of rough and tumble parts, people who you encounter more of as you go to the seedier neighborhoods. If you're trying to be incognito, you are currently failing because you have fame-related class features and are Infosphere famous.
Well, then we need to go somewhere where people are too hoity-toity to have ever watched Drifters.
No, we'll be all right. We just need to find a place, get a seat, deal with the locals a little bit, and...
Yeah, and then you guys can check our stuff, make sure it's not full of bugs.
In general, what kind of place are you looking for, and how would you approach dealing with the locals there?
Looking for a spacer bar.
Nice.
For people that are just hauling stuff from Packed World to Pack World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just something with a booth and relatively cheap beer. And then we'll if we can find a place, we'll get set up in the booth. Bangy and I will be at the ends, and we'll be keeping attention away from everybody else as they check stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we just absolutely cannot stop the torrent of fans, we'll basically recruit a bouncer from the bar and just be like, hey, here's 100 credits. Can you do a little bit of crowd control so we can talk?
Yeah. I was wrong. It's not called the Spire. It's called the Spike, but similar enough. You can... I think that's a pretty persuasive mechanism. Credits definitely seem to help here, as people don't have a whole lot of them. But if you have a skill check you want to make, something on social, bluff, diplomacy, something like that, I'll allow intimidate or culture. Kind of depends on what you're doing.
Let's go with bluff, because I want everybody to leave the situation feeling good about themselves and not realize that they've been shooed away.
Sure.
I got a nat 1 for a total of 15.
All right. So Hecubino is, to everyone else, he seems to be playing coy with the fans, which does not dissuade them.
Oh, guys, come on. No. You go. Yeah, no.
Yep. After those interactions, after being around Souljet, Hecubino is in his own head, and there's a lot of stuff going on in there, so it's distracting.
Does anybody come to bail him out?
I would like to try a culture check to do so.
Sure. What are you attempting to do?
Using my active knowledge of the local culture, to just kind of convince people that, or give people what they want.
Sure.
So as they are willing to pass past us at this point. Like,
okay, sounds
here's
good.
the interaction. That's a 19.
Yeah. That's certainly good enough. Since you've attracted a little bit of a crowd, it might behoove you guys to give some like signatures and selfies with some people, and then be like, okay, that like after you've done a little bit of it, everyone kind of understands. Like there is a social contract that you're not going to stand out here for a half hour doing that. That you can do that for 5 or 10 minutes and then move on with your night.
Vangie will happily kind of tank that situation, like flexing and posing for pictures and signing things.
Though a scrappy little Yosoki with what seems to be an animate earth elemental lizard following him around does escape your notice, Vangie, and goes and approaches Skritic to get a selfie with him.
Hey, little guy.
You're my favorite.
Oh, thanks. What's that thing?
Picks up the heavy. I don't know. He's kind of magic, but he follows me around.
Oh, that's real neat. Awesome. Hey, how about we all get a picture?
Yay! Smile, Rocky. Yeah, assuming everybody goes along with that for a little bit, then in a spacer bar, you guys all have, kind of a back corner to yourself by paying off the bouncer, and you can, kind of spot anybody who would approach you from a little ways away. And if you keep your voices to yourselves, then it's likely people wouldn't be able to overhear you. Also, you can probably, there's like a table, there's plenty of room for you, but there's enough space where you could lay things out and start doing some investigation.
All right, everyone. Blasters and boots and whatever else we turned in.
All right. Montage. You guys investigate the stuff. So let's just go around the circle and say what you do to investigate it. I don't need a skill check. I just want a description. So if anyone wants to go first, they can take us away.
Yeah, Bob will use all of his techno gear, computer knowledge, and look at all the electronics and scan them for any weird codes or any signals coming off them that shouldn't be coming off of them.
Okay.
I feel like Skritic basically field strips all firearms and reassembles them to make sure there's no extra components or anything.
Yeah.
Nice. That's totally reasonable.
Quentin passes them through a convenient opening in the front of his hull X-raying and magnetic resonance imaging. And then if anything comes up weird, he disassembles it with a series of little robot hands that go...
Cool.
Amu will disassemble anything that was mechanical. Anything chemical or biological will be set aside and put in a temp safe storage so as it can be examined when a full lab is available.
You could probably use your portable lab to scan it. The one you carry around with you, the life science-y one, the biohacker one. Yeah.
The one that's literally attached to your shell.
Yeah, at least one of the androids got some goop put on them to stop their weapons from firing, so
That's true.
analyzing that would probably be good. Hecubina is just going to, will kind of use his ability to detect magic to look for anything that shouldn't be there. I'm sure at least some of these weapons are partially magical.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, there's a difference between like this is a lightning gun and there's like a little etched like rock that glows with runes, and presumably like here's a tiny little demon guy that's like snitching on you, or
Nice.
Something similar, or like a curse that makes things not fire or whatever.
Yep. That sounds good. That would. Yep. I know exactly what you're trying for there. And Vangi.
Dengi starts by helping kind of supervise the other work that's being done to put things apart, especially when it comes to the weapons, but then eventually just gets bored with this whole thing and pulls out her data pad and just takes the opportunity to scan for information while we're here on what's going on with drifters and the race and what people are saying about us.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and make one skill check each. Vangi, you can choose to assist somebody with a computers or engineering check. One of the people making those checks. Hecubino, that'll be mysticism. Amu, I would think if you want to scan people or the chemical residues and stuff, that'll be life science. Skritic, I would allow survival or engineering. Bob and Quentin, your checks are computers or engineering. And then Vangi, you can choose to assist anyone making a computers or engineering check.
I'll make a engineering check.
I do not know who player location
that's me.
icon is.
Sorry, that's me. I don't know why it switched to that instead of Bob, but yeah.
Oh, it does say
Opportunity to do survival. I'll do survival. Yeah.
All right, then I just need a check from Quentin.
Yeah, I can't get my character sheet to open, and I'm trying to figure out what my computer's bonus is. I hate everything. I had it open, then it went away. Now I hate everything again. Hang on one moment, please. There it is.
Standing by.
Stand by.
Nice.
Red leader standing by.
Well, your checks are all fantastic.
Especially Hecubino.
Yeah.
I've evened out as far as the probability.
Nat ones and nat 20s. Yep. The short version is, they loaded your stuff up with tons of spyware and little hidden trackers and basically microphones, interstellar alarm spells. They clearly took the opportunity to. But you're thorough, collectively, you're all so good at what you're doing. Because with the assist, I think the low roll here is a 29 or a 31, depending on, or I guess a 30. It's you guys are crushing this. So it's one of those things where either you're all confident enough that not everyone in the group simultaneously botched to know it's I can tell that these other people know what they're doing. it's a little tough to tell what Hecubino's doing if you're not familiar with it, but it all kind of lines up such that after a thorough couple of hours of disassembling and reassembling everything, you can have removed all the trackers, dispelled all the curses, and put your stuff back together again as it was.
Okay. Yeah, we get sabotaged a lot, so we've got this down to a science.
Sabotaged.
Yep.
Yeah. And similarly, I'll go ahead and abstract things a little bit to save us some time. But when you get back to the squeaky clean, Grace has kept painstaking records of like everything that was done and everywhere anyone has been. And like she spun off like a sub process of herself just to track time so that she would know if she lost any time. And that leads to a brief merge where for a short period of time, Grace gets obsessed with punctuality. But and she asks, like, where were you? And that she expected you, 16 minutes and 37 seconds ago. But you similarly do a check of the squeaky clean. Because they couldn't board it, people did try to board and Grace refused, and then they used like the overrides, and then they used like some cloaking device so that people couldn't tell where they were, but then they quickly retreated. So it does not appear like anyone successfully got on board. Nonetheless, you go back and like review footage and stuff like that, and maybe even do some animal interviews with your compatriots. Gordo can kind of talk. And they try to bolt some stuff on or sneak some stuff into your landing gear, that kind of thing. But you are pretty confident you can remove it all as well.
All right.
Okay. Yep. We go through that process as well.
Yeah. By now, it's been like, call it 4-5 hours since you talked to the Archon. You probably got some grub while you were
sure,
disassembling your stuff. But it's I don't know, it's up to you guys how you feel, but I would imagine all of this like vigilance it combined with the
wears you
scenes
out.
you're in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get out into orbit, and we are meeting someone. Amsala, right?
Yep.
Yep.
We also need to connect with the android abolitionist.
Yeah.
So Amsala, as a reminder for everybody, is Rain's old friend. And she is a former drifter racer herself, though not on the show. Like an old school drifter.
Yeah.
And she can usually be found in the diaspora, associating with ne'er-do-wells on her ship, the Virago, a bright red, fast, custom modded racing ship.
Okay.
And then at the android abolitionist front, your primary contact there was Zoe, and she is on the asteroid Chainbreaker 1, which we
don't have like coordinates for, because
correct.
Last time they put bags over our heads and spun us around.
Yep.
I like to imagine that Zoe is spelled 203.
I think it is, actually.
Yeah.
I did do that intentionally when making that character.
Speak.
You did that intentionally after you asked Steven what his character name was, and he turned in an error code.
Yeah, here we go. Pulled up my notes. Her name is 203, but she goes by Zoe.
That's fine.
So, you guys can successfully get into like the cloud of ships that surround Absalom Station at all times, which just briefly reminds you of Eon Soljet's little rant about how, he has to pay extra to get the special view that isn't clouded by ships.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right.
I see what that guy was saying. Made a lot of really good points.
Once we're up, Hegibino will say, "All right, let's get some rest. Then let's head out to the diaspora, since that's pretty much where everything we need to take care of now is."
Sounds reasonable.
Acknowledged.
So yeah, you guys rest. Bob, are you setting in the coordinates to start traveling now, or are you just going to wait and sleep here?
No, I'm going to go ahead and start programming in diaspora destinations and let Grace do some autopiloting.
And just sleep in your chair?
I can
Grace
sleep
asks
anywhere.
you, what time should I wake you all up?
I need to check my system, so 3 hours.
All right, I'll wake you up in 3 hours, starting now. And for the rest of you?
I guess 8 hours.
Yeah, please.
8 hours, starting now.
Okay.
She meticulously sets timers for everything,
Okay.
and gives you. She also pulls up a clock with a countdown of when you'll arrive at the diaspora.
Okay. I'll go over to Bob and I'll whisper, "If you get a chance, defrag Grace."
Okay.
And then Hekubino will go to sleep for exactly 7 hours and 53 minutes.
Great. Cool. Yeah, you guys can all rest. It doesn't seem like, there's no secret attacks. You guys aren't, I don't know, targeted.
That's
by
exactly what someone targeting us with bounty hunters in a secret attack would say.
Well, you if you rest, you wake up or come out of trance or stasis or whatever. How does Amu rest?
In shifts.
What does that mean?
No given. There's just
Left
chunks
arm.
of Amu left
Right arm.
sleep at any given time.
Pancreas.
His leg falls asleep. It gets all tingly.
Literally. All right.
Duodenum.
The pancreas was the first thing to go. When the collective coral established intelligence, they're just like, we don't need a pancreas. All right. So you rest. You do diagnostics on Grace. She's fine. And you guys can get to the diaspora. If you want to have any conversations on the way, feel free. But otherwise, you're there.
I think I'm good for now. We'll let everybody digest what's been happening before we start talking about our plans. Plus, whatever we're told here could also change our plans.
Yeah. Yes. So there's a couple of places you guys can go for information. You do have a way of contacting the Android Abolitionist Front. They have some, one-use code places you can post on the infosphere that are probably patrolled by their special triune-powered infosphere spider bots, and send them a signal that you want to meet that way. Plus, Amsala is usually not hard to find. Unfortunately, the bar that she recommended last time was blown up.
Yep.
However, you find that in the exact location of that bar, there is a replacement bar that has been spun together in the past few weeks called Castaways 2.
Fantastic.
And then you also know some dwarves at the Star Citadel Hairhod. Brenson, Sirius, and Duthane, who are just friends that you know and can guide you around, maybe help you find Amsala if you need to.
Okay.
So, yeah. What do
So
you
yeah,
guys do?
we'll leave a message for the abolitionists because we don't know how long that'll take. Like how long it'll take them to receive the message and decide that they want to see us. So we'll leave that, and then we'll go see. Yeah, let's go see the dwarves and see if they know where Amsala's ship is hanging out nowadays.
Yeah. So yeah, you leave the message. That's no problem, and you can calm the dwarves. And they're actually hanging out in Castaways 2 with Amsala.
Oh,
Convenient.
it's a party.
Hey guys. Yeah, we became friends after you left.
Glad to hear it.
I mean, that works. Most of us became friends after you guys left the first time around.
That's true. Oh, taking us way back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a coincidences. Yay.
Well, you guys mind if we join you?
Oh, of course not.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Nice to see you all again. Amsala gives you a recognizable grin that always looks like she's in on a particular joke, or maybe that she just has a particularly funny inner monologue. And she is dressed similarly to how you saw her last time. The details are different, but it's, again, kind of like overalls in like blue and purple and neon pink, with carabiners and tools, and she's cleaned up, so you can tell exactly where she washes her hand up to, which is like above the wrist, but then above that there's like oil and stuff like that. And she gestures for you guys to join them, and like, I don't know, winks at Vangie when she sits. So I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, good to be seen.
I have found something.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Yes, and I'd like to share it with you. But is there anything that I should know?
Leon Soljet just tried to buy us.
He is a very wealthy man, is he not?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
He's literally richer than God.
huh. I don't get it, but okay. Well,
Had to be there.
I'm assuming since you're here, you're not bought, so that's cool. There are more important things than money.
Yeah.
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 Like good friends. And there's now a round of dwarven ale.
Here.
Eh,
This stuff's dangerous.
It was Rain's favorite, actually. She would make special trips to Star Citadels to load up.
Oh.
Anyway, so there's the postcards, the photographs,
right.
in the boxes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did she hide something there?
Well, that is what I think. Yes. I almost all of them I could just recognize at a glance. I just knew exactly what it was. But then there were a few that I couldn't, and those made me curious. So I tried to look up those locations. Image searches on the infosphere, stellar cartography, those sorts of things. And I couldn't pinpoint them easily. So that made me more curious. So I ran a chemical analysis on the cards, and those ones appeared to have been altered to appear aged, even though they're actually all new within the past couple of months.
Huh.
So then Then I ran an analysis on all of the cards just to be sure I didn't miss anything, and that was a good thing I did because I did miss one. There was one extra one that I do recognize. That was also one of these fake aged cards. So she was definitely up to something, and I think I found out what. And she pulls out these cards, and she flips them over. On the back, there are these drawings that only show up under the chemical analysis, but they still, as you can tell, look like doodles, although a careful mind will see that they're actually stellar coordinates. And you guys can see in the doodles, it's like, oh yeah, that's, now that you have been pointed out, it's like, yeah, you could, yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's not just one set, but several in a sequence, which I interpret as a path for us to follow. Maybe a treasure map. Most of them don't line up in a way that makes sense to me or the computers yet, but the first one is something I recognize, and that's why, I mean, at first it makes sense based off of these, like she can kind of line up the postcards together on the table, and they literally physically line up such that you can tell there's like a path. But it makes sense that this is the first one because it's the only one I know how to get to.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
Oh, that's great. Maybe we can find out. I mean, if we can find out anything else of what Rain was working on, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it tracks with the whole thing with like the Drifters' data was under intense lock and key. They almost got Quentin with a possessing demon when he tried to break into it. So there might be something that Extreme Infosphere is hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, like just with the offers that we were made, I think that's where Extreme Infosphere slash Eon Souljet get their bruisers from. Like their leg breakers and heavies.
Yeah, it definitely seems like from what our brief contact with Team Electrum that they have been employed to do some very unsavory stuff.
Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. That there's kind of a crucible of turning people into ruthless, killing machines.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't know, maybe we should leave some of this with you in case we die, because we've got some pretty relevant information.
Yeah, are we all gonna chase these down together?
I'm certainly not going to let you do this last drift race alone.
Okay, well, that's great. Yeah,
we'll come along too. Thanks for the invite, Hectorino.
Oh, sure thing. One more round for my guys. Let's sing a song. Oh, the Pathfinder. He got onto his galleon to search for Lost Golarion, but then somewhere out there he died.
Classic.
I died.
I love the ending of that song.
Yeah, Pathfinders. Who needs them?
We can be ready to go whenever you're ready. So if there's anything else you need to do, I suggest you do it. Oh, look at that. The Android Abolitionist Front has gotten back to you with direction of how to get to a safe place where they'll pick you up with a shuttle.
Yep. Okay. We gotta
some
turn
people
in
about a couch.
Yep. That's exactly right. But we'll meet you guys right outside of, basically right in orbit of this rock. We'll let you know. It's not going to take long.
Great. I'll be waiting. Okay. So you guys go to the coordinates, and there are androids who are there to pick you up with a shuttle. They seem to take a little bit less of a precaution. They do drive away or fly away and find a couple asteroids to like slingshot around and scram. And there's no easy view of the stars or anything like that from within the shuttle. So theoretically, you are still don't know where Chainbreaker 1 is, but they're certainly doing it a bit faster this time, and you don't wear like blindfolds or anything like that.
Right.
Well, that's good.
And you can set down on Chainbreaker 1. It's pretty small. There's those like holographic illusion projectors that you have to fly through before you even see the base itself. And then primarily, but not exclusively, androids in the AAF are all there, and it's kind of like a big hangar bay, but there's also like social media kind of marketing influencer seminars going on in the back because they constantly do that to kind of promote the fight. And quickly, Zoe approaches. So she's your main contact from last time, and she's got silver skin with turquoise light stripes on her face and hands, and her hair is like fiber optic cables that change color from purple to pink to green to bright blue. Vacuum suit, little pockets, carabiners, heavy grab boots. Definitely someone who's there to take care of business. And she is pretty excited as she's obviously waiting for you guys when the shuttle opens up. And she will kind of run towards Bob. And like as I'm about to start talking, she is running forward and like going to hug you. She's, Bob, you did good work. I'm impressed. Tell us all how it went down.
It was a very dangerous mission. We were there, and everybody played their part in doing it. Really, we need to be thanking Skritic for doing the actual smuggling in of the devices and plugging it in. But everybody played a part in making sure that the mission was going to be accomplished successfully.
Well, you're going to have to give me more detail than that. But a bunch of androids are there, and there's like some excited murmuring going on. You guys are certainly. She's kind of guiding you to a little area that's kind of a secure room where you can talk. Though it does seem, from just what you're able to overhear, that your mission is now at least common knowledge here. Amongst like the engineers and the staff, and a couple actually, as you start walking by, several of them just start clapping.
Oh, wave! Yeah. Thank you.
So, Skritic, good work on recruiting the nanite collective intelligence to the cause.
I don't know. I just
Wait,
saw an opportunity.
They prefer to be called Chesterfield or Chester for short.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I can really take credit for that. I feel like that was largely their own initiative.
Yeah,
so
yeah, they seem pretty open to the message.
We just put the thumb drive between the cushions. The cushions had to choose to accept it.
I mean, that's more accurate than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're all really excited. We've had access to bits and pieces of this before in testimony from insiders, but not the raw data. It's exhilarating. We're going to advance the cause for the android freedom more in the next few days than the past decade. All our coding and patience is going to pay off our loans. Well, I mean, little bit less pay and more eradicate any existence of. We're not asking for forgiveness. We're reclaiming what's rightfully ours.
Right
Yeah.
on.
It's nice.
Respect.
But Chester did warn us about the security protocols that they know about, which are pretty intense. And I'm sure that there's some that they don't know about either. Regardless, we're only likely to get one shot before new protocols are put up and they do a really thorough scan of everything. So far, we're not doing anything rash yet. We have our mind on the inside. A little bit less of what you might think of as a typical virus and more of a presence that can move around the network, which is really, really good because it doesn't really leave any evidence of itself. You have to kind of quarantine everything down and really pin it down to stop it. But the downside is it isn't everywhere at once, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So, yeah. What do you guys have in mind?
Yeah, so we were thinking of maybe doing some sort of, kind of political statement, let's say, during the final race. And we want to make sure that they don't just cut to commercial.
Yeah. All right. We can start planning something about that. We've got our own ideas that we've been cooking up for quite some time. But we'll start gathering some information for it and kind of prepping that. And then the other thing is we'll start thinking about how we can secure a broadcast for you.
Right.
I think Quentin might have some footage that could be of use in that broadcast.
Yeah, I think so.
Great.
I have extensive footage.
The other thing is, I don't know if you've got data on this. So last time we had our ship maintained by Extreme Infospheres, they put stuff on it that wasn't supposed to be there. My prediction is that they're going to do the same thing before the next race to probably us and the Team Electrum. And if we can prove that, that might be really helpful.
If you guys have some time, we could do diagnostics of the Squeaky Clean and get everything measured down to the micron and milligram and, be able to maybe build in some independent safeguards that can tell you what's been installed.
Well, that sounds pretty useful.
I mean, that would be great. Yeah, if you guys have the time.
How long would that take?
Well, we've been thinking that we might have to do something like this for a little while, and I don't think there's going to be any shortage of volunteers. She gestures towards the hangar bay.
Great. Well, we're about to go on a treasure hunt, so we could do that.
When you get back?
Yeah.
All right. She elbows Bob in the side and kind of grins up at him and says, "It's a date."
Yeah, definitely a date. Looking forward to it.
She adjusts your cap.
Oh, thank you.
I like how that looks.
Oh.
I look in Quentin's shiny dome. Oh yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I guess
we'll
back on the shuttle.
Yeah, we'll leave a message on the pet spider forum for you guys when we're ready.
The message will say, "Don't stand so close to me" is the best police song.
Then, unless you guys want to do anything else here on Chainbreaker 1, I'm going to assume you're all back on this, shuttle back to the Squeaky Clean and go meet up with Amsala and the dwarfs.
Nothing besides walk around the entire thing, check every trash can and box to see if there are items in
Smash
there.
all the pots.
talk to literally every single person.
see if they have any
Look for
questions.
anybody who has an asterisk above their head so that we can get that 100% completion.
Check out if there's anything new with the vendors.
Yep.
Stay a while and listen.
All right, we'll do that next time.
On Critical Hit.
On Critical Hit.
I wondered if that was going to trigger it. There are no rules. It's just chaos here.
No, don't try to change your behavior around it. It's smart and it's hungry.
That's true. And its movement is based on vision.
Yeah.
All right. So when you get back to the orbit around whatever Diaspora asteroid has Castaways 2 on it, there's Amsala in the Virago, Brenton, Sirius, and Duthane in the Hook Hand, which is a light transport with a giant hook for snaring space debris or maybe doing space mining. And then there's also the Kasatha that you recognize from
Amsala's bodyguard.
Yep.
I assumed that he was in the bar and just like invisible.
That makes sense. He was, if you recall, like I don't think he said a word last time, and he was very quiet and seemingly deadly. He has his own ship called the Vansarai, which is a nondescript Idaran-made heavy freighter. But you suspect it's probably, carrying either a lot of weapons or an assault team of Kasathan commandos, something like that. Who knows?
Something nasty.
For Vangi in particular, you remember, were you in the scene with him?
Mm-hmm.
She was not. She was in the team that went to Extreme Infosphere.
Oh,
so it was
that's true. Right, because we were like worried that he was going to try to kill us and or kill you guys, and that I wasn't going to be there.
Yeah,
and the other team was me, Skritic, and
Amu.
Yeah,
that's
a
right.
Stealth team.
Yeah.
I mean,
like we can just hide behind Amu's shell. Nobody will ever find us here.
And well, in any case, Vangi, I guess, meeting Santhanax for the first time, you definitely get that. And Skritic, you had this sense before, probably, of someone who is a lot deadlier than they let on. If anything, he reminds you a little bit of Skritic in that regard.
I mean, Hecubino definitely talked to everyone about it, mostly because he was like absolutely charmed by the idea of postcards. Like he definitely led with that and then was like, oh yeah, and also there might be a message in them, and we saw Amsala and she has her own Skritic, except he's not a Yosoki.
Perfect. All right. Well, everybody ready? Says Amsala.
yeah.
I'm excited. Haven't gone on a race for some time. Let's see if y'all can keep up. And she guns it.
Bob follows suit.
Yeah. So she does some unnecessary in the unnecessary by certain standards, but definitely necessary by her standards. Fancy maneuvers and doesn't fly in a straight line to where you guys are going. But eventually you have to put in some the coordinates for a small drift jump. It shouldn't take more than a few hours. And to the first set of coordinates. Everyone's jumping together. You somehow all enter that same like drift space pod where it's like, even though you're all traveling faster than the speed of light, you're somehow all like next to each other. Like a warp tunnel or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Brenton, Sirius, and Duthane.
Attorneys at law.
Are
all right. Take it easy, okay?
They provide a lot of fun stories. Evidently, mining on a dwarven Star Citadel is a quite adventurous life. And then they also show you pictures of their grandkids.
Aww.
And Santhanex says nothing and drinks water. Amsala is happy to hang out and chill and chat for a few hours. But she's clearly full of some nervous energy. And then as you exit Drift Space, you are at a what Amsala will introduce to you as a Dyson Swarm Stellar Engine.
Oh.
I will show you a picture of it. And for those of you with, so if you go to Roll20, you will now see a picture of it.
Ooh.
Nice.
That's nifty.
So Amsala, or those of you with, for instance, like physical science, so I know that's Amu, would know that this is named for the great gnomish physicist Dyson Wobblebomb. And it's a megastructure surrounding a star. So Dyson Wobblebomb didn't make this. They just
theorized it.
They just theorized it, exactly. Technically, this is hundreds of orbiting space stations that all move in perfect synchronicity with one another around a star. So, think of, somewhere in the back of your minds, you're also familiar with Dyson Wobblebunk's other concept of a Dyson sphere. This is that, except it's a swarm of panels instead of a full sphere. So there's lots of open space, and it takes a lot less material to make a Dyson swarm than a sphere. So this particular one clearly dates to before the gap, and all the orbiting stations, they first of all, none of it matches a known intelligent species. Their design or their technology patterns. It's some relic. But they all have these massive solar panels that are probably absorbing all manner of radiation from the star within. And then, as you can tell, they are funneling that energy towards one specific area in the swarm. And, that they're using the energy both for their own maintenance and power and stuff like that, but also putting it towards a central stellar engine. Again, another concept that was theorized, which is that what if you could build all those, basically capture the power of a star, what could you use that energy to power? And it looks something like this, which is a special one of these space stations that is coruscating in stellar radiation that almost makes it look like it's on fire in a beautiful multicolored blue to yellow, orange, red spectrum. It must clearly have all sorts of special shielding to be able to withstand that kind of radiation, but it does look like it has a docking pad on it.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, all right. I mean, here we go.
Yeah.
So, with that, we're going to start a bit of a skill challenge.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
So, could everyone please roll initiative for me? Just go ahead and shout it out once you roll it. So that
16.4 or 0.04.
20.
17. I got
22.
an 18 on the die.
And I super forgot where initiative was on this sheet.
Also 17.
Upper right.
Upper right.
You're 17 fast, Critic. Amu is 17 slow.
Okay.
Mine's right
there it is.
under the
There it is.
description.
Another botch.
Yay, at least it's just on
Hey.
initiative.
That's okay.
Back and forth, back and forth.
So then it'll go Vangie. Actually, I'm sorry, Quentin, then Vangie,
Hello.
then Skritic, then Amu, then Bob, then Hecubino in the rear. Couple of things. So for this skill challenge, you have to. There's a few problems that you kind of have to solve. You need to successfully dock with it, and then you're also going to need to make several checks at how to operate this device, and there's a time limit on it, you can tell, because while this thing has intense radiation protection, the amount of cosmic energy that is just incidentally passing by here could cause permanent damage to the ship or yourselves if you stay too long.
Got it.
So, Quentin, why don't you take it away and describe what kind of action you're doing to assist in powering up the stellar engine or docking the ship or anything like that.
So the dock is probably not configured for the squeaky clean. And of course, Bob is piloting basically into a giant stellar engine and may not be able to reach all the things he might need in order to configure our external docking port hatches and cannulas in order to interface with this system. So Quentin is going to literally be hovering kind of upside down and sideways in midair between three different panels, trying to punch on each of them equally at the same time, so that he's punching here and punching there and punching there, as Bob needs assistance as we're trying to, dock with this weird, terrible thing beyond space. It's a terribly acrobatic display with arms and spheres everywhere, he said.
I will certainly. So you seem to be intending to help Bob dock the ship, which is totally fine by me. So then you can use acrobatics to assist.
Yes, that is my plan.
Okay, sounds
glad
good.
Glad we're on the same wavelength.
Go ahead and make your check. One thing is, just to kind of clarify, you're in this. You can kind of land, and you can all you'll have put on spacesuits while you were in drift space. Probably a good idea too. The radiation protection alone. Amsala warns you cryptically ahead of time. So the docking area is kind of like a tunnel. So what you're describing, Quentin, actually makes plenty of sense in there. But just so everybody else knows, you can disembark the ship and start interacting with the station already. So that's what you're doing, Quentin. That's fine. Vangie.
I think I will disembark the ship and start trying to get the lay of the land.
Well, as you do that, perfect segue. Then you disembark and you see what appears to be a massive lever that seems connected to how to power, how to use this stellar engine.
Oh, well. Never was there a job for Vangie than a giant lever that needs pushing.
Yeah, whoever these people were, they were large.
Cool. Well, lucky me.
The people who designed this.
I am also large, so I will try to get this open.
Athletics.
Sweet.
And that is one of the required skill checks of this.
Fantastic, because it is by far my best skill. I rolled pretty mediocrely though, so it's going to be a 19.
All right. So you move it and it starts to start up a little bit, but it actually you put it in basically the wrong gear, which you didn't even know was a thing you could do. And you start flooding the compartments with I don't know, let's call it tachyons.
Before she even pulls the lever.
Causes everyone to experience minor time distortions, which throws things off. It's like, wait a minute, didn't I just do that? Like, you're not sure, you're having deja vu, or like you flickered like 2 seconds into the future. It just minor stuff, but it does mean that because you did fail that check, there will be a -2 penalty on the next 2 skill checks rolled, and the ship suffers some damage.
Sorry, guys.
Oh no.
So I did reset your hull points and shields and all of that from previously. So in this case, the ship is going to take 31 damage to the aft, which will, I believe, blow away the 20 points of shields and then start dealing hull damage after that. And actually, the ship does suffer a glitch to life support.
Oh, crap.
It's okay for right now, but anything that would apply to that system is at a -2 penalty, and it will require repairs later. And if things get too bad, that it can start causing other problems. So if someone just notes that life support is glitching.
Yep, I put it at the bottom of the document. I think.
Great, because just so you know, is a kind of like a reminder on starships, they have a certain, I think it's called hull threshold or damage threshold, damage threshold, which is how many, critical threshold, there we go, which is how many hull points you go through before you suffer a critical effect.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm lying. The ship's critical threshold is 21, which the hull only took 13. Because the shields took 20 off the top. So 31 minus 20 is only 13, so you don't suffer that life support glitch.
Good.
Okay. We're still looking at the -2 bonus or -2 penalty for just a failed.
Yep, for the next 2 checks that are made, which will come up right now. Skritic.
Oh, crap. Let's see.
So that athletics check still needs to be made at some point. Doesn't have to be made by you. You can also tell, looking around here, that someone is going to have to make an engineering check.
Okay, then, yeah, I will try to do the engineering to see what I can figure out about this thing and see what we need to do to interface or whatever.
Sounds
control. Good. Yeah. So here goes nothing. 34.
Hey, that's great. You have succeeded. You can interface with this thing. It seems to want you basically in a little. It's going to make a stellar energy tunnel, and it needs the ship to be configured in a specific way within it. And it, by the way, you guys are not the only ones doing this. As you realize, Amsala and everybody else is hustling and kind of watching you guys and figuring out what to do. People are shouting back and forth. Amsala is laughing. She seems to know. She seems to have done this before.
All right. Yep. Relay all that to everyone else and coordinate.
All right. So that was successful. Amu.
Vengi needs help with a big lever.
Yes.
Yep.
Gonna write her up.
He can do it.
I was say
Amu's buff.
He's swole.
yeah, I could write her up, or I could just attempt it myself.
You will take a -2 penalty because there's still the tachyon interference.
Can I do an assist for Vengi for her next?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do then.
Sure. I will let you. So you're going to like team lift the thing when that happens?
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Do you want me to do the roll now?
Sure. Yes, that'd be great.
22.
Okay. So that will be an assist on Vangi's next attempt.
Sweet.
Bob.
Yeah. Does the ship need to be in a particular position? Do we need to dock with this thing?
Yes. That would be, I mean, theoretically, you could just hope everything works out, but it's probably better for you to position it correctly.
Yeah, I'm going to use my piloting to get us aligned exactly where we need it so that team engineering can do the configurations correctly.
Great. Then make a piloting check. You get a +2 bonus from Quentin, and you are not under any penalties because 2 other people have already made their check.
So that'd be a 24.
Yeah, that's good enough. It is tricky to maneuver this, but you are successful. So you can get the ship in the right position. Hecubino.
Okay. Before the tachyon field completely dissipates, Hecubino is going to kind of like do a weird spin, flex his knees, and put his arms out like he's hugging someone. And then like 2 more Hecubinos are going to appear. And it's like, all right, Hecubino from a future where we succeed and Hecubino from a future where we don't succeed. Hit me with it as fast as possible. And basically he's going to try to formulate a plan using this like temporal nonsense to navigate it.
Nice. How about a mysticism check? Does that seem appropriate?
That sounds good to me. 24.
Yeah. One of them says, Quentin ruined everything. And the other one says, yeah, Vangi pulled the lever.
All right, I can work with this.
Quentin, you're up.
Well, now I'm sad. I don't want to do anything and ruin everything.
Quentin, you can do this. Believe in yourself.
You're the best around.
You're the
really
best.
Round or spherical.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you're the best and round.
Yeah. Believe in the Hecubino that believes in you, not the other guy.
Okay.
That's right.
So, there are no horses, so I can't use diplomacy.
Yes.
Is there anything that is not really a bluffing?
No.
This is going to be so we have to do an engineering check.
So Skritic did make an engineering check.
Okay.
Now, engineering could still be helpful. It is still an applicable skill, but it would be more like a way of assisting Vangi than the check itself. The required check of like basically configuring the ship's systems to be able to withstand the stellar energy that's about to receive. Skritic did that.
Right, and I know nothing about engineering. I mean, I'm an entertainment lawyer. That's true. I mean, if you want to sell the story of your thing, that's fine. Okay. You know what I'm going to do?
What's that?
I am going to use all 18 of Quentin's senses. And I am going to use my perception to figure out what to do next and how I ruined it.
All right. Make a perception check.
Okay. I'm going to use my sight, my hearing, my 5D sense of smell. And Thermal vision, right.
Pressure sense.
ESP.
You know, people say that humans have 5 senses or, like a 6th sense, something like that. It's not true. We have way more than that.
No, that's right. Modern scientific sense says that humans actually have like at least a dozen senses, if not more. Yeah. Like the ability to sense like where your limbs are at all times, things like that. Yeah. That's a sense, yeah.
Yeah, sense of humor.
Penetravision.
Everybody has one.
Yeah. Penetravision is important. Flash vision. Yeah. Gotta have that.
All right.
19.
All right. You can tell by looking around that there's that basically the interstellar parking brake was on this thing, and you help You're like, Vangie, you have to remove that. Otherwise, it's gonna make a weird smell.
You have to push the little thing at the end before you release.
Yeah, there's a lot harder than it looks. All right. All right.
Vangie, everybody's a critic. It's your action.
Like, flip the parking brake, stretch a little bit, heave in tune with Amu and try to actually move this thing and roll better than a 3, hopefully.
Make an athletics check. This time you get a +4 bonus because 2 people are assisting.
Hey, nice. Oh, that's a 34.
Yeah, that is wildly successful. And it looks like some of the others have succeeded, although not without their own, issues. But fortunately, you guys, because there's more of you than everybody else, have taken, some of the, like, only one person total had to flip that giant lever. Meanwhile, Amsala has done a separate required check of inputting the coordinates as to where you're going. She jumps back into the Virago and says, "All right, everyone, I put in the coordinates. I have no idea where this is going to take us." It's a fold gate, by the way, in case you care. But it should still work, probably.
Great.
And the stellar engine powers up. The whole thing lights up with, blue and pink, and to Quentin and Bob, lots of other colors that most humanoid eyes can't see. Amu, you're sensing all sorts of fun radiations. The tunnel starts to light up, and you can see particles passing by, and you get kind of shot for a moment into space, but then the tunnel kind of folds in on itself, and you feel momentarily like everything gets turned inside out. Like, imagine you're a cup made of rubber, and someone just takes you, flips you inside out, flips you all the way around, and then somehow you're back in your body, back in the ship, but it feels like every atom of your being has somehow been moved around itself, and you're now somewhere else.
Wow.
You can feel the back of your teeth really weirdly.
I did not like that at all.
The Grace is seems to be thrilled. She seems super excited and maybe turbocharged with power. Which is good, because the coordinates that you guys got dropped off into are as evidently in the middle of a binary red and white dwarf star system that are also pulsars. So you are in a nebula that looks something like that.
Ooh, pretty.
Very. Nebulas are gas and dust that surround star systems. In this case, there's kind of those twin nebulas because of the binary system that they're moving around. So from a distance, it kind of looks like a cat's eye, but in red and purple and green instead of the traditional cat colors. As you are kind of immediately thrown with your existing speed and momentum into the system itself, you get to see some binary pulsars themselves, which look a little something like that. One is a white dwarf, which is a small, very, very dense star. The other is a red dwarf. The white dwarf is more luminous. The red dwarf is darker. And however, they're in a system where they're orbiting each other, and everything else is also orbiting them at the same time. But these have turned into pulsars. In this case, meaning they are blasting forth visible cosmic rays that are so powerful they can fry the ship's electrical systems and maybe hurt you guys within. And it's blasting them at all sorts of intervals. Are they regular intervals? You're not sure, but you have to avoid them while plotting in the next set of coordinates from Umsala. So the challenge continues, and we had left off with Skritic. So Skritic, what do you do as the ship is being assaulted by cosmic radiation? and space debris, I'll point out too. Those nebula clouds, they look really pretty, but they're full of like tiny asteroids that can still smash into the ship.
Yes. This might be a bit of a weird fit, but could I somehow use like either acrobatics or sleight of hand to get the timing to shoot the thrusters and whatnot in micro increments to...
Believe it or not, I have acrobatics specifically listed as an applicable skill. Go for it.
All right, I will do that. Let's pull up my character sheet back. I don't know why.
As Quentin
still look at the nebula.
Shakes his, dagger fist at you.
Nice, 35.
Oh, perfect. Yep, it's a lot of that like intuition as to when to jump, when to pause, like how to leap, things like that. But controlling the ship thrusters and stuff like that, kind of helping out with piloting as well. Yeah. So. That was successful. Amu, what do you do?
Don't know.
Well, you are quite smart, and knowing things about stellar phenomena may help.
Gonna do physical science to figure out what we need to do to get around
Absolutely.
all of this extra nonsense.
Physical science can tell you a lot about pulsars, including very rare binary pulsar systems. That didn't work.
24?
Yep, that's also good. Yeah, you are able to plot out. There's no way a system like this doesn't have a pattern. Now, it can be incredibly complex, but you can start, maybe bring in Grace. She's probably very good at plotting these things out, and you are also excellent at it, at determining what pattern the pulsars are firing at. And if you can convey that information quickly enough, that could let you kind of escape this thing's gravity while still flying the course that's been set. So that's quite helpful. Bob.
Yeah, I'm going to take that information that Amu discovered from the pulsars and their periodic pulsings and rotations and everything. And I think I'm going to have to once again use piloting to see if I can just shoot through this section.
Yep, that is one of the required checks of this particular section. So go for it. Boom, 36. Perfect. You punch it, and Grace actually gives like a good deal of power. She still has a bit of that cosmic boost from the stellar engine, and you shoot off into a different direction of space, and you're for a moment you have like a second to breathe until you see a section of space ahead of you that is not surrounded by stars, but a field of portals. And these portals look something like this. So they're all like lots of little black hole portals surrounded in bright, shimmering lights. As you approach, Grace will tell you on the sensors, those aren't lights. They're interstellar mushrooms. Each one of them is ringed by some set of strange mushrooms growing out of space nebulas themselves. They have a distinctly otherworldly look to them. Hecubino.
Do I know anything about interstellar mushrooms?
Well, so there's two different angles you could approach on that. There's maybe a life science check, or you could focus more on like the otherworldliness of it and make a mysticism check.
Okay, I did a mysticism last turn. Can I do another one?
You can.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll try to gather information from my past experiences and also some analysis doing right now about the mystical mushrooms.
Cool.
24.
Yep. That is good enough. So these are stellar fairy rings. And they will transport you into the first world dimension, which is to say Fey space.
Sweet.
Now, of all of these portals, almost all of them are traps that will transport you somewhere terrible. But you have succeeded on the required mysticism check, and know from the coordinates you have to be very, very careful and kind of replot things out. But you can basically, a lot of them are going to try to be the portal you take, but the kind of last one you choose is the right one.
Hecubino is going to run over, and presumably there's some on-screen something with all the portals, and he's going to basically take a marker and draw lines over some of them, and the circles are on some of them, so that it's this weird eldritch diagram, which very clearly centers, even though it's off center, into the one that we're supposed to be going to. And he'll say, "Sorry, Grace, I'll clean that later."
That's okay. You guys start flying through that portal, and as soon as you pierce the surface of that portal, your hair kind of stands on end. Momentarily, you experience a lack of gravity, and everything just goes quiet for a moment. You all look around, and then for no reason, and this is true also for the dwarves and Amsala and even Sontenax, the comms all just fill with laughter, and you guys all start spontaneously laughing as well for no known reason. But then you come out the other end of the portal, and you are in the first world dimension, otherwise known as Fey space, which looks a little something like that. Fey space is a strange realm that only incidentally obeys the known laws of physics. The space itself appears to be alive, with floating plants and animals glowing with green or orange or pink bioluminescence all over the place. There are moons that are hovering way too close to planets, but then those moons themselves are orbited by smaller moons, and then those have even smaller moons orbiting them. The tide of one planet seems to take its ocean all the way around its moon until the water settles back into the planet on the other side, leaving one part of the planet very arid, while the other side is constantly being inundated by lunar magical waterfalls that look really pretty. There's a small sun in the distance that has a very distinct face, and it winks at you as you fly by.
Are you sure it's not the Super Mario Galaxy?
Right back at you, the sun.
I just wave.
2 scoops of raisins. Did anybody just see a guy with pointy ears and a guy with pointy teeth in a boat?
there are a trio of things that start following you that look something like that, which is to say, eerily, I don't know, alien, but distinctly fey creatures. They have bright green or blue eyes, and a strange line on as their mouth, but no other facial features. Very pale, taut, white or gray skin. 3 fingers. They fly. They're like 9 feet tall, but probably only weigh about 75 pounds. And their body kind of loosely becomes that weird cloak that you see billowing at their legs or feet area, but they seem to just fly effortlessly around. And there's a certain kind of like opalescence to that cloak, as it like an iridescent material where it shines a bunch of different colors depending on the light that's catching it. And they seem to be following you.
Hostilely or just curiously?
Yeah, that sounds like somebody's skill check, but the next person up is Quentin.
I'm going to sense their motive.
That seems legit.
Right? That seems like the kind of thing that would be very useful here. Actually, what Quentin is going to do is he's going to quickly tell Bob a series of maneuvers to see if they're following us in an amused manner or if they're chasing us in the hopes of ripping out our guts and souls and central processing units and eating them as we all watch in grave horror.
All right.
While doing that, I shall sense their motive, and I will roll a 27 so to do.
Excellent. So, these creatures, whatever they are, they look kind of like fey angels, weirdly. They're very strange.
Angels.
But as you start assessing them, they start singing. And it's a strange, like they don't use words. They don't even open their mouths. But there's like a strange harmonics to it. Quite eerie and quite beautiful. You get the impression from their eyes and their mouth that these are creatures in search of entertainment, and that they are willing and wish to be amused, but that they're also certainly capable of doing great harm to you if they so chose.
I jettison all 9 seasons of The Facts of Life on DVD.
So what do you convey? Quickly.
Bob, they want to be entertained. Give them a show.
All right. Well, it is not Bob who acts next. It is Vangie.
How to give them a show?
Give them a gun show.
All right. I mean, do I think they can like?
Are you not entertained?
Do I think that they can
Punch
see
somebody
inside the ship, or like, is there a way to broadcast like what is going on inside the ship that like out to them?
There's certainly broadcasting mechanisms, yeah.
All right, then she's gonna run to like the holographic amusement suite and start trying to like broadcast from there, basically like showing off her workout routine and like some of the goofier like our drifters outtakes and be like, tell me if they look amused and I'll change up the programming.
So I would allow a bluff or diplomacy check.
I'm bad at those.
You could theoretically make an athletics check, but that I would say would have to be like an assist. You'd be basically like playing your programming of yourself, of like, your workout routines, which seems to mildly amuse them, but that would be more like an assist role than amusing them directly.
Fair enough. I make like an engineering check to like create like a little, I don't know, montage of stuff for them.
Yeah, using controlling the holographic amusement chamber with an engineering check. Yeah, that's totally fine.
I'll do that. Not great. 17.
Unfortunately, they are not entertained by you. Accidentally send the video from the person who went insane.
Oh, jeez.
And they are not entertained. So
sorry, guys, my skills are not very good.
For the next 2 checks, there will be a -2 penalty as their sonic sounds, like their song, it becomes deeply discordant and unsettling, basically throwing all of you guys off. So for the next 2 checks, which will be Skritic and Amu again, you take a -2 penalty, and then let's see here, Vangi and Skritic, please give me will saving throws.
Okay.
Let's
see.
Is it a save versus fear, or a save versus a spell or spell-like ability?
Spell, yes. Fear, no.
16.
Okay.
12.
All right. Well, I've got good news and I've got better news. You are both charmed by these things, which you now want to call deep angels, like angels of the deep void. So you're both charmed by them, and you have now become deep angel fanboys and are obsessed with them. And this effect is persistent. That is to say, like, it does not go away when you leave face space. It will not end when the skill check is over. You now have an intimacy, deep angels, and want to learn everything about them.
I'm going to get really into cryptids.
Have you ever seen the movie?
I was just about to. That's exactly what I was saying. I'm going to get really into cryptids. Great.
I was really hoping somebody failed to check on this section. I was really hoping.
I'm going to take up charcoal painting. It's going to be nothing but good news.
All right, Skritic.
Okay.
By the way, though, Vangi, you have determined that some form of entertainment check is required. I
shall say, Quentin, entertain them.
Also, I need you to stop taking all the trash cans into the living room to build the monument.
We have 2 monument builders on the ship now.
So, Skritic.
Would a culture check to try to determine what would entertain them be applicable?
Sure. A culture check's fine. I will also let you know that flying through this space is quite hazardous because it is filled with living things. Like, there are spores the size of asteroids here, and, like, you know, gigantic planet-sized flora and stuff like that, just so you're aware. But you can certainly make a culture check. That's fine by me.
Or if I can do a survival check to try to scare us away from the most dangerous things, yes. And, after all, we wouldn't want to hurt our new friends, so we need to steer them to safety.
Sounds good.
37.
Yeah, that's a success. There you go. All right. Good work, Skritic, even with the -2 penalty. I don't think that's going to make a difference. You were born to navigate this ship through phase space on behalf of the Deep Angels.
Yes.
It's been your dream as long as you remember being here. Amu.
I guess we are the entertainment. Would like to use culture?
Sure.
18?
Unfortunately, when you're trying to kind of assess their sense of humor, Is that
Yeah.
fair? Like in sense of amusement?
Yeah. Start with something. Start with Amu's current knowledge on Fae. See what sticks. Doesn't work. Pull something else. Throw another thing out there. Just throw things out until something actually works.
Well, you try, entertaining them with various maybe videos from Infosphere shows, things like that. But it doesn't seem to translate well, and their siren song elevates in pitch to the point where your humanoid companions start bleeding from their ears, and you start having cells pop all along your body. So everyone take actually give me a fortitude save first of all.
Is this still a spell?
All of us.
This is not. All right.
I rolled a nat 20 on me.
That's awesome. Bob, you're unaffected. Everybody else, if you rolled a 20 or higher, you take 7 damage.
Ew.
If you rolled less than 20, you take 14.
Okay.
And for the next 2 checks, so that was Amu. So Bob and Hecubino, you will also take a -2 penalty on your skill checks.
Okay.
Bob.
Oh, the song is very interesting, and I know what will really make these Deep Angels happy is some accompaniment. So I will flip on the external loudspeakers on the ship and just start wailing away with some music from my collection that harmonizes with them and gives them a good beat to dance to. And I will use computers for that.
Ooh, I like that.
Simp
Sure.
DJ.
Scan through
21
DJ?
minus 2, 19.
That I think you have chosen something that they particularly like, which is music. So that offsets the penalty that you were
Okay.
you were receiving. And that is successful. So you have started to entertain them. You guys still they kind of appear ready to guide you places, and it does seem like they can fly at the speed of your ships, which is strange because ships are quite fast relative to individual creatures, but they seem to have no trouble keeping pace with you. So there's still more you can do in terms of interacting with them, gaining information from them, but you also have to navigate your way through Fey space. But that was successful, Bob. They do like the music, and they immediately start adjusting their own song to no longer cause ear bleeding and match your synth music instead.
Nice.
Hecubino.
Hecubino will see that they enjoy the music, and he will take the comms, basically like a radio thing with like a little press button, and be like, all right, that was Android Revolution, and now up for something else. And he'll like motion for Bob to play something. It's like,
Yeah.
but while this song gets kicking, let me ask you something. Does anybody know the way out of Face Space? You could be the one to lead the squeaky clean out of this mess.
Classical music.
Nice.
I actually have profession MC.
Wait, really? That's incredible.
Well, all right, then for that you get to make a check with advantage. So roll twice, take the better. That's just too good. I'm sorry. That's
32.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll keep that. So you do take a -2 penalty, but that still leaves you with a 30.
Yeah.
So that is awesome, and they Now they start. First of all, you now realize that their song is telepathic, and that it's interfacing with the ship's sensors. And it quickly occurs to you that they can kind of control what the ship sees. And you might want to be stationed next to like the actual glass, and like not rely on view screens or anything like that, because although they seem to be kind of helpfully guiding you now, it occurs to you that these things could drastically alter what a ship sees very easily with their songs. And cause all sorts of other electromagnetic interference, those sorts of things. So that was success. Back around to Quentin.
So they're no longer killing us loudly with their song. Are they?
They seem to almost have finished guiding you where they're going, but it's really hard to tell in phase space because you don't know exactly. Like it could be the destination could be around the corner, or it could be a million miles away.
I wonder. I don't know if that would do anything. I was like, I wonder if I could communicate with them using. Rodrigo just did that. Okay, yeah, it's a thing. I don't know what to do, guys. Help me. Throw me a lifeline.
Help. If only you could have some kind of perception of how much further we have.
How's your perception?
I do have.
You can help the ship translate the visual information that it doesn't seem to be able to do with computers.
Yeah.
You could also try to make friends with them, communicating with them in some way diplomatically. So there's a lot of good options here, I think.
I will communicate with them diplomatically. I will attempt to communicate with them and say, "Hey, cool duders, we was wondering." I probably won't talk like that. I'll probably talk in a way much more Fae-like. How do Fae talk?
Try hoity-toity.
Hoity-toity. Hello, I am Quentin, and I would like to know if you can help us to understand.
So instead, why don't you tell me what kind of emotions you're trying to communicate?
I'm trying to communicate openness and friendliness, but also a need to go somewhere, a desire to go somewhere cool and entertaining. And perhaps they could help us, but also we want them to hear the awesome music, but we have to go.
Wanderlust. Perfect. Make your diplomacy check. Yep.
That's a 22.
Faye, like the sound of how your wanderlust feels. So again, you kind of say the words and you like act it out because you don't know how to communicate any other way. But you get the sense when they're looking at you, and again, their eyes and mouth are really expressive, but despite the fact that they have no other facial features, their eyes like twinkle with amusement and emotion. And they seem to like, even though they don't move their head, you get like the impression of nodding from them. They're like, oh yeah, you have to move along. And also, this isn't the place for you. This place will tear you apart eventually. And so they guide you through another portal back into normal space. And so ends your brief encounter with the Deep Angels, which is all too brief for Skritic and Vangi.
Goodbye! I'll find you again.
Skritic is like scratching images in the hole.
I surprised them by pulling out a collection of their greatest hits.
And last but not least, you guys emerge into this, a hypernova in process, which is a supernova and a supermassive black hole happening basically at the same time. And it is surrounded by fields and fields of debris starships that have been wrecked, planets that have been wrecked, planets that are actively being pulled apart, and it's kind of ring of red around it, and there are flying monsters and spaceships that seem to be throwing people or tossing ships into this hypernova / black hole thing that is, according to Grace, spewing forth antimatter that's destroying everything around it. And that is, I think, where we will leave things off.
Ooh,
Wait, if it's antimatter, does that mean it doesn't matter?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking us out this week. We're going to be back next time to find out what happens if we're going to survive this next leg of our journey and how we're going to take down all the bad people that have ruined our lives. And maybe we should all give a little thoughts of gratitude to the deep angels for guiding us out of the phase zone.
Yes.
Yeah, gratitude. That's what it is. Just like we are very grateful that you, dear listeners, are checking us out each and every week. And we'll be back. And because you are all wonderful, here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits. Take care.
This podcast is copyright 2022 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.